Well, if a sermon is like a 4-course meal with an appetizer and dessert, tonight it's going to be heavy hors d'oeuvres. So calibrate expectations accordingly. Tom, good suggestion on the invitation song. In a moment, it'll make sense why that's going to be an excellent invitation song. Some time ago, there was a TV game show that I thought was pretty cool. It was a neat one. You probably saw them. I'll admit, I saw them on reruns. So if you watch them live, that'll tell you the difference in age. But I watched them on reruns. I thought it was a really good show. There was 3 contestants on the show, and each contestant would claim to be the person. So that's how the show would work. 3 people, all claiming to be the same person. So for example, contestant 1 walks on the stage and might say, "My name is Richard James, and in 1945, I invented the Slinky." Contestant 2 and 3 would walk on the stage, and they'd make the same claim. "My name is Richard James, and in 1945, I invented the Slinky." What's interesting is some of the contestants that appeared on this show, you might remember the name Frank Abagnale, who was later played by Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can, which also co-starred a guy by the name of Tom Hanks. So that guy appeared on the show, right? That was cool. Peggy Fleming was one of the people you had to guess. Don Drysdale, Wilma Rudolph, and even Orville Redenbacher, which is amazing because when I was growing up, everybody knew who he was. But apparently at one point, he was on the show. The panelists were made up of celebrities, and their job was to ask questions to see if they could determine who the real person was. And some of the celebrity panelists include people like Johnny Carson, Don Amici, Orson Bean, Dick Van Dyke, Kitty Carlisle, and Joe Gargantolio. I don't know who that is, but that was one of the famous celebrity people. Did we say it again? Garziola, see? Tom watched a lot. At the end of each question, the panelists would each vote for who they thought was the real person of all the 3 contestants that claimed to be that person. Each contestant that got a wrong vote earned $250 and could earn up to $1,000 that night. So if you could fool the panelists, you could make some money. At the end of the show, the moderator would say, and if you've seen this show, you remember the famous scene, it would say, "Will the real Richard James please stand up?" And they look back and forth at each other and start to stand up and sit down, and then finally the real person would stand up. And that show was called? Tell the Truth. Tell the Truth.
To tell the truth.
To tell the truth. To tell the truth. So tonight we're going to play a game.
Everyone got it.
It's the Christian version of To Tell the Truth. I want you to imagine that you're a contestant on the show with the same format as the original To Tell the Truth. You got to tell the truth, though. You got to answer these questions to yourself honestly. The celebrity panelists will be represented by me as I ask these questions. The show's opening may go along. My name is, right? You can say, "My name is Rob Morey and I'm a Christian." That's only you put in your name, right? So you get that. "My name is Mark Davis and I'm a Christian." See, that's the whole premise tonight. You're the person and they got to figure out whether you are truly a Christian. I'll be representing the celebrity panelists, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You answer them to yourselves. This is not, we're not going to call it out and admit to things tonight, but I want you to think through these things. So here are the questions. Did you faithfully attend church services this last week? Now you got that one answered. Did you come because you had to or because you wanted to? Did you use your God-given talents in the work of the church last week? So we're just limiting just the last week. We can go a month, we can go a year, what works for you. But I want you to answer these questions for yourself. As you were prospered by God, did you give financially to the church? Were you content with the provisions God blessed you with? And did you thank Him each day because of what He has given to you? Did you set aside time daily for prayer and study? Did you talk with anyone at all over the last week about the gospel of Jesus Christ? Did you pray for those who are on the sick list at your church, those who are in the military, those in your city, state, and your country? Did you make phone calls to those who were shut-ins to encourage them? Did you send cards of encouragement? Did you talk to anyone personally that was enduring difficult times, sickness or other issues? Did you volunteer to help someone in the last week? Were you a good example to your family, your friends, your coworkers, and your neighbors this last week? Were you careful and thoughtful about the things you said to others last week? Did you control your tongue? Did you do the right thing when no one was looking? Did you react appropriately when mistreated by others? Did you earn your paycheck last week? Were you a good spouse, a good parent, a good child, a good friend, a good neighbor, a good employee over the last week? Did you think more about the things of God or things about the world? As you're answering those questions to yourself, let's be reminded of what 1 John 3:10 says. This is how we know who the children of God are and who the children of the devil are. Anyone who does not do what is right is not a child of God, nor is anyone who does not love his brother. So be thinking about that as you answer those questions. As each of us honestly spend time thinking about how we'd answer those questions, I want you to think about some things. If I came up here tonight, like I'm to tell the truth, if I made a claim that I was a policeman or a doctor or a nurse or any other profession, does that claim in and of itself make me what I claim to be? If Ricardo were here, we'd say, Rob is not a policeman. I'm not authorized. I am not trained. I don't know what I would be doing. I would be a false policeman. If Richard Reinbold were here, he would tell you Rob is definitely, without a doubt, not a doctor. Doesn't have the training, doesn't have the qualifications. I would make a horrible doctor. So it's not the claim that's important, it's what I can back the claim up with. Just as we wear the name of Christians does not necessarily mean that we are, in fact, a Christian, right? So that's what we have to be thinking about tonight. We may be able to fool one another because we don't spend a whole lot of time with each other. We see each other Wednesday, maybe Sunday twice. Maybe if we have some event in the middle of the week, a Bible study, but we don't spend 24 hours, 7 days a week with each other. So I may be able to fool you and you may be able to fool me, but we are not going to fool God. Being a Christian is more than saying that we are a Christian. Being a Christian is living an obedient life and striving each day to more closely follow the example of Jesus Christ. Listen to what Paul writes in Romans chapter 14, verses 10 through 12. For we all will stand before God's judgment seat. It is written, as surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bow before me, every tongue will confess to God. So that each of you will give an account of himself to God. In 2 Corinthians 5:10, we read this, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive what is due him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. So what's the conclusion? As this show, this truth, to tell the truth Christian version is closing, if I were to say, will the real Christian please stand up, would you be standing up right now? If you did stand up, would the panelists, based on what they observe in your life, would they be surprised that you are a Christian? Would they say, man, I would never have guessed that you were a follower of Jesus Christ? Would they say, hey, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I just didn't follow him as closely this last week. I followed him to church, but I left him there and been planning to catch up with him again all week long. Isn't that the way most of us approach him? We go to church, we see Jesus, and we leave Jesus, and then we go back to our lives. But you know, the best thing about being Christian is that we serve a God who knows us intimately. He knows our hearts, he knows our thoughts, he knows our deeds. He knows the number of the hairs on our head. And we serve a God that loves us and desires each of us, each and every day, to have everlasting life with him. The Bible says in Psalms chapter 86, verse 5, for you, Lord, are good and ready to forgive and abundant in mercy to all those who call upon you. So as we're sitting here answering those questions and being honest with ourselves, we know we fall short. But the wonderful thing is we have a God who is ready to forgive. So tonight's an opportunity. If you're a Christian, tonight that opportunity is to finally be the Christian you claim to be. Many of us claim to be Christians. Many of us are less than a Christian. Our opportunity tonight is to live fully committed to Jesus Christ, and that can begin tonight. If you haven't been doing that, you can make that right tonight. The opportunity tonight for Christians is to finally be the example to our family, our friends, our co-workers, our neighbors, that they desperately need. Have you ever thought about that? God puts you in the world because there's somebody you and only you can reach. You are the example they're looking for. They were the panelists. Would they be surprised to learn that you're a Christian? And tonight is an opportunity to begin to live truly sacrificially. Too many times as Christians we confuse inconvenience with sacrifice. Well, it's inconvenient that I had to come here tonight and miss the game. That's not sacrificial living. That's inconvenience. So we need to understand the difference in living sacrificially means we actually give up of ourselves and our desires and our goals and objectives so that we can accomplish what God has set us here to do. And if you're not a Christian here tonight, then your opportunity is to become one tonight. To put on Jesus Christ in baptism, Romans 13:14 and Galatians 2:27, and to walk as a new creation, 2 Corinthians 5:17. I remember when I was young and I was contemplating putting on Jesus, probably the thing that resonated most with me was this idea of being a new creation, because I knew I was dirty. And I knew I couldn't clean myself. And there was an opportunity finally through Jesus Christ for me to feel good about myself again. And maybe you're in the audience today and that's how you feel. If you were on to tell the truth, the Christian version of the game show, would anyone think that we were Christians? Would they believe us if we told them that we were? And because I want you to think about this, while this was a fictional game show, we actually are on that game show. People are evaluating us every day. We tell them we're Christians and then they say, well, you know, I saw you on Wednesday and what I know about Christianity, that wasn't Christ-like. Or, hey, you never really talk about Jesus. You tell me you're a Christian, but I don't see that in anything that you think, say, or do. Every day people are deciding if they truly believe we are Christians. And they'll know that by the way we talk and act each and every day. And so with this opportunity we're given tonight, we're going to make our lives right. If we've been saying we're a Christian and living contrary to that, tonight we're going to fix that. That's the beauty of being in Jesus Christ. We just confess it and we move on. We become better. If you're not in Jesus Christ and you know that it's time for you to have that new creation,